Welcome to this week's episode of 3 Minutes of Torah, Wisdom and Wonder. This week we read Parshas Boy. The last three of the plagues are described by the Torah. Plague number 9, Choshech, darkness. The Midrash tells us that 80% of the Jewish people died in the plague of darkness. Why the plague of darkness? Says Rashi, because if the Egyptians saw the Jews dying, they would say all these plagues are a natural phenomenon. It's happening to the Jews too. So Hashem didn't want the Egyptians to see the Jews dying. But Rashi asks, why did so many Jews die? And he says there were Rashaim, evil individuals in the Jewish community, that they didn't want to leave Egypt. Even though they had seen these incredible miracles, they still didn't want to leave. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, the great holy tzaddik, the Rebbe of Lubavitch, asks a wonderful question. He says, we see that many Jews died in the plague of darkness, but all the Jews that came out were not righteous individuals. The Gemara tells us that at Yam Suf, just before the sea split, the angel said to Hashem, Ele of the Avodah Zarah, that the Jews worship idols and the Egyptians worship idols. There's not much difference between them. And we also say, the sages teach us that many Jews took idols with them out of Egypt. So why did they deserve to live, yet 80% died in the plague of darkness? Why did they also not die? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal says a beautiful and powerful answer. He says that Rashi is telling us, Lo ratzu leitzeis mimitzrayim, they didn't want to leave Egypt. It shows that they didn't want to change. They were change averse. And there's nothing worse than refusing to change. It's such a deep lesson for us that none of us are perfect, and we all have strengths and we have weaknesses, and we accept our failings, and we have a desire to improve and to grow and to change. But when we block off that option, and we say, I am not going to change, I'm not going to leave Egypt. Egypt also means meitzari, my constraints. I refuse to break the constraints within myself. There maybe could be a desire that we refuse to improve on, that we hooked and locked into. It may be a relationship. It may be a quality that we have. It may be an addiction. When we say we refuse to change, so then Hashem says, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do to help that individual. And so therefore, those that refused to change died in the plague of darkness. Others that came out weren't perfect. They had a lot of issues, but they were open to move and to change and to develop. And that is such an important lesson for all of us, that we always need to desire and want to change, to improve, and to grow. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.